Hi friends, what's up babes? Hello world. This is another Planet Dust transmission. I'm recording this on July 25th. I want to give you some information. I want to also give you some things to think about. All in service of you being and becoming, you emerging as the most joy-filled and strong and soft version of yourself. And let's just vibe with this time in space-time right now. We've gone through the gamut. Maybe you've doom scrolled. Maybe you found some joy scrolling, learning about the Barbeault basket and all these astrological aspects that we've never seen before and how hyped up July 2026 has been, with good reason. And maybe you're interested in astrology. Maybe you're a mental health practitioner. Maybe you're someone just trying to figure themselves out, all of the above intertwining. I got 3 books for you that I'd like to talk about. Sometimes I do individual book reviews, but this transmission is going to also weave in and out of a few different books to show you how I've shaped my ideas, but also to give you something to read and follow up so you can do your own learning, thinking, studying. There is nothing in the world in this lifetime that I love more than talking about the nature of reality, the structure of reality. But I'm not here to throw down with any hard and fast quantum physics says, religious text say, well, yes, that. But I've always been interested in how we as individuals construct reality. And likewise, how we as individuals can be so married to a worldview, so in a worldview, but not even know it. My practice and study of astrology has helped me to expand and explore what exactly it means to view the world through a certain lens, how personalities are constructed, and most importantly, I think, why we're here in the first place. I like evolutionary astrology because it states, or what we look for, is soul purpose. Why you, big, beautiful glob of light showing up in this dark, heavy, 3D dumpster fire world? What you here to do? What you here to learn? And if there's anything that really, really drives me bananas, is when people or when someone believes that they're on a journey of consciousness expansion, raising the vibe, high vibes only, but they don't bring the compassion, the empathy, the deeper connections that we cultivate with one another, with other souls, as we shape our mind. Expand your mind all you want, but what that heart do? And that is my long-winded way of saying, yo, July 25th, 26th, 27th are really powerful days in the psychoenergetic ecosystem, in this fabric of space-time that we share. We do share it together. And, okay, let me grab my notes. I got the notes with a paper and a missing square, whatever. It still works, it's still paper, right? Okay. Jupiter is going retrograde in Leo. There's a nodal change. The South Node is moving into Leo. Saturn's going retrograde in Aries. So, what do you love? What have you always fundamentally loved? Not like I desire, but like what is that thing that really brings you so much joy? The only kind of joy that can emerge from a place of love. For me, again, it's reality. Thinking about, talking about, constructing reality. I don't know. I picked a weird natal map to incarnate with, but that's just what I do. And for as long as I can remember, I have found so much joy spending hours reading big ideas, playing with different languages, watching how certain words will construct or evoke or invoke different things. I have been known to spend many a Friday night reading German texts on transplanetary communication. Don't ask, it's a weird, I said it was weird, I know. But I like these big ideas because I also like to bring them into usefulness. That's my particular individual thing. Also, I'm just a blue collar girl from New Jersey. Grew up in a construction family. So ideas are not something that were just blooped into my lifestyle. Academia, a bohemian lifestyle, spending hours and hours and reading and writing and working with this more artful interpretation of reality and ways to spend my time. No, that's not what I grew up with. But it's what I always felt was intuitively my path to joy. The reason that I'm talking about this and sharing a piece of my story is I'm really fired up right now. And my reflections, which I do on a regular basis, reflecting on what my internal landscape feels like, watching what is constellating around me in the external world. And this whole astrological map, snapshot in time, really speaks to me because I have Aries in my 11th house in my natal chart. Saturn is going retrograde at 14 degrees Aries. I have my moon at 11 degrees Aries. I have my natal nodes in Leo and Aquarius. The nodal change now, the release that comes through the South Node now that the node is shifting, the South Node moving into Leo, feels really good to me. And interestingly enough, the way that some of this is constellating around me, I recently learned that several of my books could be easily transferred into a new distribution system that makes them more easily accessible to libraries. And this has been a goal of mine for a few months, maybe like a year or so. It was a project that I kept trying to take on and had several challenges around, but yeah, a 15-minute call. Bloop. Suddenly shifted the energy. And what an incredible joy, not just because this was a goal that I wanted to achieve, but because it is for the greater good of all. So my joy of languaging reality and the work that I do and how I help others learn how to transform with a transpersonal worldview, transform with creative writing. I help y'all learn how to language your realities differently in the hopes that it'll shift your mental health into a place of more wellness. It'll shift your ability to navigate your inner landscape and help you find agency where you need to find agency and make sense of whatever it is that you're experiencing in the world. Name it. Claim that space, because that's your journey. Saturn going retrograde in Aries, where King Saturn will be for the next 20 months. Feels for my journey like this is really where I start to put bounds and shape and structure around my practice. Now, I've been doing what I do my whole life, okay? Doesn't necessarily mean I'm rolling in wealth. Let's take that little capitalistic line of code out the thinking. I love what I do. Incidentally, I'm also on my PhD journey. So within the next 20 to 24 months, I'll be doing the fundamental seminars and courses to help me give my ideas more shape, so that my hope is so that they can provide some guidance to those who are interested, especially in mental health care. Because there's a couple reasons why. The way we name our inner experience reflects the way that we talk to ourselves, but it also reflects the way that we have been talked to. I love seeing transformation. I love seeing breakthroughs, aha moments, right? I love it when someone goes, oh my God, I didn't think of it like that. Oh my gosh, I see how I'm being the butthead. Now let me change that, okay? Behavior modification isn't always easy, but it comes with that perception, with awareness. So to loop back in the Barbeault basket, the biggest takeaway for me, and what I hope y'all would reflect on, is what's the big shift? Okay, not in a little like, wow, now I'm doing this thing where I'm, I don't know, like choosing a routine and sticking to the routine. That's cool. But the bigger shift is what the results of those actions are. All consciousness is a shift in perception. And this Barbeault basket offers us collectively the energies to step into, embody, and do that. Will we see a collective shift? Well, here's where it gets a little interesting. The energy is there. What do we do as a society with it? I like to think of the nodes like the yellow brick road, Wizard of Oz. Y'all know that? Y'all probably know I love my sci-fi references, right? This yellow brick road that builds upon itself. It builds itself as you walk on it. To me, that's what the nodes represent. The nodal energy now being represented by Leo and Aquarius. The south node, the release, where you coming from, is that Leo energy. North node in Aquarius. That ability to lead with heart as you network out. Let's just keep it like that. That is my interpretation, and that's also how I construct my reality. If you notice a shift around you with your individual relationships, What I want to bring awareness to is how many people might say, I don't feel a thing because nothing is shifting in the collective. It's getting worse and worse and worse. Right. I agree. I also really, really do not like the declaration that everybody can do whatever they want. They just have to make a different choice. Everybody has a choice. There ain't no such thing as such fluid mobility. Yes, we all have choices. Yes, we all make choices that in their most immediate application affect our inner life. We might choose to desire to manifest something, or we might choose to wish for something, right? But the collective doesn't make those same choices. So now imagine everybody's got this little yellow brick road, and we building bridges, and like we kind of like, I don't know, boom, crossing paths. Boom, got a bridge up here, a road's going underneath. We got this whole situation in this like really organic envisioning of the Aquarian networking principle. Network as in enmeshments, circuits of energies, just mixing and matching and not matching and zapping each other out. So in a way, some of this elevation in energy, some of the way that humanity is shifting, and the emerging consciousness, or the emergence of the ability to perceive different levels of consciousness in society, must be done with heart. If we're raising consciousness, pull up. What that heart do? Heart better be there. Otherwise, it's all about you. Okay? All the choices, all the betterment. Oof. I'm on a roll with things that I do not like. Number 3, things I don't like. Everybody out there, I've seen them a lot. The New Age movements, in the do-gooder movements, everybody out here trying to build a sustainable eco-community, do better things, impose, non-hierarchical organizations. All really amazing things, ideas, but the ideas. In practical application, they don't work. There's a lot of Saturning, logistics that need to be worked out. There's a lot of heart that's missing. Being able to declare, make better choices, and just make this a better world is so ridiculously ableist that I'm not on board with it. Okay, I'll always be the 5th dentist who doesn't cave, because there's no integrity there. And the reason why I have come to this point, and the reason why I think it's really important to balance out our self-care routines and to consider some of these bigger ideas, is that we are heading on a crash course of individualization. Maybe a little Uranus and Gemini energy pulling up here. How do we construct information, and how do we handle this new Promethean like fire of information everywhere? We're actually able to just live in our heads. We don't really need to on paper connect with other people, but we do to stay human. When we talk about the collapse of systems necessary, FDT, he's just a figurehead anyway. It's the system that enabled him. It's the system of corporatization of everything, of dehumanization and over-colonization, power trips, power grabs, that has gotten us to this place. Everyone is on an individualized path when they are pursuing their soul interests. And it is not the same as a path of self-care through which you are seeking to individuate, to detach. High Aquarian energy. Detach a little bit from the network, from the systems, from that which has bound us to these circuits where you can, through free will and personal volition, make choices, but also, nope, those don't get fleshed out in real life. You can be as strong as you want, as smart as you want, and yet there are systemic injustices and systemic oppressions that no, we are not on paper all equal. So, in reflection, in the energy that you take something from this transmission, perhaps the question for you is, but how does this bring me joy? And when I show that joy, why does it hurt? Where do I feel vulnerable for showing that joy? Look, the idea on paper, I like to language reality, sounds cool, right? Except that that has also come from, led me to, and through places of mental health and mental illness, okay? One person's reality could get them institutionalized, while another person could be having a similar reality and it could get them praised. The whole psychotic to mystic pipeline is something that I like to talk about and deconstruct a lot. So when I talk about my joy of being that I like to talk about languaging realities, I feel a little vulnerable because it's like, well, are you really, interested in that? Are you really making this stuff? Are you not? Like, what? It's such a far-fetched sort of source of joy. I hope that makes sense. But through the journey of individuation, healing, transformation, breakdown, calibration, all these big juicy words, it became more and more apparent that where I was trying to create community, or the places I was holding onto, were moments in time. My road kept going and kept going, kept building. I had to practice letting go. I had to practice integrating. And I had to, at every moment, as a milestone was reached, I turned around and said, how can what I went through, how can I turn that into service? The point is, if you're in hell, you get the heck back out. And with that experience, that lived experience, you turn around and extend a hand to say, all right, now you pull up. I'm gonna help you pull up. I can't think of continuing to write about reality and consciousness and lived experience, creative expression, without thinking of the people that I serve. Well, if that ain't a heart and Leo forward mission, building planet dust mission, woo! Anyway, so there's a lot in the energy. There's a lot that can be dissected and explored further. If you feel that you want to work with me and have a conversation one-on-one, pull up. I do have very limited ability. My books will open up a little bit more in the fall for one-on-one work, but my books are also available online. So books to read available online, the practices available online. It helps you to create your own map for navigating these journeys, symbolic journeys, image-filled journeys, journeys of imagination. And I also recommend, if it is feeling like this nonfiction is good, it is going to actually give you more. You want more to think about? Cool. Because some people just want to do. People just want the reflection practice. Cool. Others are like, give me some more theory. So here you go, Mark Jones. Woo, the planetary nodes and collective evolution. Super jam. Also a psychosynthesis practitioner. So there's another tick in the corner. We psychosynthesis practitioners. We're something, huh? Highly recommend Absolute Freedom by Stefano Carpani. He talks about this axis of individuation and individualization. I also just completed a Pacifica Graduate Institute certificate in Neo-Jungian studies. Carpani organized it, had some excellent instructors, and helped me to go deeper into this sort of intellectual flight of fancy, but very applicable because, as we all know, pull it back to the source. What do I do with all of this? Pull up the big guy, my mentor, Dr. Schaub, Dante's Path. This is a heartwarming book. Vulnerability and the spiritual journey. Also a psychosynthesis practitioner. But incredibly comforting. So like heavy intellectual. Intellectual makes you think, might have to read things a couple times. Nightstand level. Let's do that. Instead of nightstand level. Dante's Path. And of course, in psychosynthesis, we often refer to the story of Dante and Dante's journey. So we work with story and images on the journey of transformation, so that we can be with ourselves and then just be with the world and find the joy. Idam Namama.